We're going live.
Do it.
Yeah, we're live. As you guys can see, I have the man, the myth, the legend, none other than Terry. It's COVERMAN66, right?
Yeah, it's COVERMAN66 on
COVERMAN66, Terry
on
Wilson
YouTube. Yep.
in the house.
Glad to be here. Always a good time hanging out with my man Rich.
Yeah, yeah. I remember the last time when you came out to see me. We went to lunch. Man, we probably sat there for 3 or 4 hours or something. It was a long time.
Well, it was long for you because like I lost the directions. So you sat there for about a good 40 minutes before I got there.
Oh yeah, no, it was a long time. That's what happens. You get car guys together, and all of a sudden, man, time goes by.
Why don't you tell them about the first time we got together and we were just chatting away. We thought we were live and we weren't.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that happens too. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
Hey, so I wanted to, for guys that don't know, I don't know why all the guys here are going to know who you are and what you do and stuff. But I realized that when we were having our conversations that for instance, I don't know when all this stuff started for you. Like when did you start doing YouTube?
Wow. I think my first video was, how do we say it? I'm trying to think. My first video was me starting at, well, y'all see it now. It's the Chevelle, the one that's behind me in the picture.
Okay. Oh yeah, we'll start this going so guys can kind of see it.
You know, it used to be white with black stripes.
Yeah.
And so when I first did it, when I first got it, I had basically what started the whole channel was, it was pretty much a way for me to keep in touch with my car friends that moved away to different parts of the country.
Yeah.
And so I would be sending them attachments all the time. And I was just like, you know what? Let's get together a YouTube channel. And that way just send them the URL and they can open it up and they can see the videos that I'm doing.
Sure.
And I got so keyed up. One day where we were going to do a starting party. And I videotaped it, edited it. And instead of making it private, I didn't select private because back then you had to select private, else it was going out to everyone. And that's what really started the whole thing.
So before you were just doing it, you were just letting your friends watch it, only just the people that you selected. It wasn't going out to everybody.
Wasn't going out to everyone, no.
Oh, that's cool.
And it went out to everyone at that point because you got to remember, this is like 2000 and maybe 10 or 11. And the LS was somewhat new. You know, you didn't have that many people swapping the LS engines. They still were doing either tune port injections or the people that wanted to be brave, they would do the LT. But then to me, the LT was always like, it was almost like a tune port. It's basically the same, like bottom half to me. Anyways, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm talking to you, but
it had better heads and induction system on it. Basically,
that's it. But once you remove the heads and you got, well, not even remove the heads, but you remove the intake. So 350, you know, and so I went straight to the LS after driving one. One of my buddies, he called me up. He worked at Chevy dealership, and this had to have been somewhere around, I guess maybe early 98, maybe 99. He goes, Terry, you got to come down here. We got these Camaros down here. They're incredible. They got the LS engines in them. And I was just like, how much better could they be? You know, he's like, no, come on down. So I went down there. He gave me the keys. He said, which one do you want? Of course, I took the one with the stick, the red one with the stick.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to give the car back. I mean, now we're looking at a 98 Camaro S. It wasn't an SS. One was an SS, another one was just a regular Z28.
Yeah.
But the fact is that, to me, those weren't the most prettiest looking cars. So when I got the car back, I had to lift up the engine, lift up the hood, because I always read about these LS engines and all that because they were in the Corvettes before they hit the Camaro Firebird. And I was just like, okay. And he'll tell you this. I said, there's got to be a way you can put this engine in a 69 Camaro or Chevelle or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's when the wheels were turning. And I used to hang out with the guy, Mark Campbell from Street Performance.
Yeah.
some reason the guy took a liking to me, and Mark was good because you can call him on a Sunday, he's going to answer that phone.
Yeah, I like the guys at Extreme Performance. We did a lot of stuff with them back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. He's the one that got my tune port because he says, Terry, get a tune port. Do you have an accident? And I had a friend who had a tune port, didn't know what to do with it. Tune port, just the intake. And I had just put a ZZ4 in my high school 80Z28. And I was like, let me get this thing. And he said, send it to me. He hooked it all up. It came back all wired and everything, computer and everything like that. He said, slap that on your car. I slapped it on my car. What a night and day difference. At that point, never, ever went back to carbureting. It was fuel injection for me all the way.
Yeah, and especially that one, that thing adds a lot of low-speed power, so it feels really good when you stop on the gas on that thing.
A tune port, stoplight to stoplight, is a great engine.
Yeah, it has big promises when you lay into the gas. It's not that good on the big end, but it obviously promises a whole bunch at the beginning.
Yes, it'll die off at around maybe like that 45, 40, 4,800, 5,000 RPM. Yeah, you ain't getting.
Yeah, but it goes pretty good till then. So was your first video then for YouTube, like, were you saying it's 2010 or 2011 or something?
It was around 2010, maybe somewhere around there, because what happened was I had put little videos out before then, but you know, once that video hit, all the other videos started going up, you know?
Oh yeah.
And that was in the heyday of, like, you didn't have too many people. It wasn't saturated, but now it's so saturated.
Yeah, they'll let anybody on. That's
anyone on, you know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, today, heck, if you can get like 20,000 subscribers, to me that's good, because like it's so saturated.
Sure.
It is so saturated. I mean, yeah, we all.
Yeah, guys have been telling me for years, hey, you need to go do this. I'm like, no, that's not. I said the same thing. Like, no, that's not a real thing. That's never gonna take off.
No,
that YouTube thing.
No. I'm hoping at some point I get my silver plaque like you got.
Yeah, it's I'm lucky because I had, hey, look, your channel did really well. I'm like, yeah, but it did well because, I mean, it's not Cletus well, but it did well because I have been doing this for 30 years or whatever. I'm doing the same thing. I'm just doing it in video form now. So, I had a lot of people that were reading the magazine stuff and kind of knew what it was and liked that kind of dyno testing.
Mm-hmm. Nah, plus, you know what it is also, I tell anyone who wants to start a YouTube channel, I tell them, just be yourself, because there's nothing more disappointing. Because there's a saying, if you don't want to, if you don't want to be disappointed, don't meet your heroes.
Yeah.
So just please be yourself. So when people do run up on you, they see you like they see you on TV or on YouTube. And,
I've gotten good advice about that from several people, but in one of the movies that I watched, and The Rock was in it, and it was about wrestling, and I think it was about one of the female wrestlers coming up, and she was asking advice, and he said, you know what? He said, don't try to be the next me. You should be the first you. That's what you need. And that's the advice that people gave me. They said, look, the thing that nobody has on YouTube right now is they don't have you. They have other people that are doing the things that they're doing. You don't want to do that just because they've been successful. You want to go on and do the thing that you're doing, because right now, YouTube doesn't have that. They already got this other stuff. You don't want to be also that. They don't have you yet, and so go do your thing.
Do your thing, and be your genuine self, because like I said, most people who know you, they're going to see it and they're going to say you're being a fake or whatever, but just be yourself. Put good content out, stuff. You'll find a following. It may take a little time, but you'll find your following. And
it's amazing the little niche markets that are out there for everything that you could possibly imagine. There's not just one guy doing that. There's like a whole group and a whole following. Like, hey, this is like specialized badminton. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Yeah. Go do your thing, man.
And I told one of my buddies, and it's funny because if you get a YouTube channel and you get somewhat successful, I still remember this, Kevin Tetz. Love that guy. I reached out to him in 2014. We're good friends now. And I just asked him for advice, and he says, I know who you are, Terry. You're doing great things. I see the video, keep it up. And he gave me advice. He says, but I see where you're going. get ready to lose some of your friends. He says, because the people that cheer you now, as you get up that ladder, you're going to lose some of your friends, and you're going to identify the ones that are giving you a fake push. You know, and I keep telling him he is right, because people who I thought was always in my corner, I lost so many friends. I lost so many friends because, you know, I don't know if it's jealousy. I don't know. You know, like, let's take Derek Bieri, Vice Garage, good buddy of mine. All right.
Yeah.
I love the fact that I would love to be we all would love to be where he's at. But I wouldn't want to be where he's at the cost of knocking him down so I could take his seat. That's not
that never works. I mean, that's sort of like third grade playground mentality, where you put others down to elevate yourself. Does exactly the opposite. I mean, as we grow up and become adults, that's a pretty easy thing to learn.
And that's what my whole thing is I'm not doing anything. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I try to be the instruction, because I know a lot of people don't like reading instructions, but I always tell them read the instruction. But I try to be like the Cliff Notes to help them get over a certain type of obstacle that maybe I overcame. And it's just amazing that, like I said, you know, like, you get so many people where, you know, they show the love. I mean, like I said, I lost a lot of friends, you know, that I went to school with that were there. And to me, I'm not doing anything. And I tell all my friends, listen, I'm not doing anything none of you guys can do. Sure, the attitude might be different, the mannerisms might be different, but at the end of the day, who knows? You get out there, do your videos, maybe your mannerisms would take you to a place where I could never go. Sure. It's about going out there, swinging the bat, and not being afraid to try.
Sure. And don't be afraid to fail.
no, not be afraid to fail. You know, you're gonna, you know, like, I mean, like, if you fail, that didn't work. Wipe yourself off, dust yourself off, and go. Well,
you miss 100% of the shots you never take, so that's not.
There you go.
You know, you're guaranteed to fail if you do that.
Oh, if you don't get up to bat, you're not going to hit it. You're definitely not going to get it.
You know? Well, cool. So let's talk about some. So around 2010 or something. So you've been doing this for a little while. That's really cool.
Doing it.
Let's talk right now about what are your current projects right now that you're working on.
Yeah, it's funny. I got a message the other day. You know, like, someone tagged me. They called me the busiest guy in automotive, because I got maybe 5 projects going on.
Yeah.
One, and I got to thank all the sponsors that supporting my habit. You know. Sure. I got to thank you.
Are you the James Brown of the automotive industry? Is that
if James Brown and Muhammad Ali of automotive.
There you go.
But right now, okay, I've done the 71 Chevelle. That's almost done. That's the white Chevelle, of course, with the black stripe. But now it's almost like a caramel.
So what motor's in the Chevelle?
That's still got the 6.0. That's still got the motor that I originally put in there back in 2000, and I'm going to say maybe 9. That has probably 2000. Yeah, around 2009. That's the car that got the channel really going. Okay. Which is the LY6 with a LSA blower. You know, the LY6 with an LSA blower, and so
and
right
cam,
now,
I'm assuming.
Excuse me.
And some kind of cam, I'm assuming.
Oh, of course. I had it's a custom cam from Engine Power System back in the day from Jeff, and I set it up 6-speed, put a turbo, not turbo 400, a T56, because that's my transmission, and you know, I've been loving that car ever since. But it's been down for a couple of years because other projects. But now we're at the point where the interior is going in now, as far as getting it all freshened up, because it looks good on the outside. We want it to look just on the inside. And so that car is going to make a few rounds as far as LS Fest and, you know, SEMA and stuff like that. So hopefully this year, you know, but then we also got the CUDA that everyone saw. I got that car. That's an interesting story.
What year is that one?
That's a 73.
73, okay.
73 CUDA, but we're converting it, being that we had to change everything, all the sheet metal. Thank you again, AMD. We converted to a 70 AAR.
Oh, okay.
Because it used to belong to Joe Zopler from Garage Squad. And I was talking to him one day on the phone, and I said, "Hey, Joe, let me ask you something. The 70 CUDA body style, how far did that go up? Did it go to like 73?" He said, "No, it's actually 74." And I said, "So in other words, a 74 would be a little more reasonable in price." He goes, "CUDAs, they're not reasonable in price, Terry. Especially if you can get in one and drive one. They're not reasonable in price."
But a 74 would be more reasonable than a 70.
74 would be more reasonable than 70 or 71, you know?
Yeah.
And so I said, he goes, "Why?" I said, "Well, I used to have a CUDA in college, a 71 CUDA with a pistol grip, which I wish I never got rid of, but I'd like to get my butt in the seat of a CUDA again." And he goes, "I just happen to have a 73 CUDA that's in rough shape, but it's all there. It's got good bones, and I'll be willing to sell that to you." And so we worked the deal out, and Tyler Long from Long Shot Performance went out to not Indiana. Where is he? He's in Chicago, near Chicago, and got it. And we brought it to Tyler's shop because, like I got in touch with all my endorsers, and they said, "We'll send you some parts and all that." And next thing you know, 8 trailers full of parts came. And so I'm glad we went to the shop because there's no way I could house all that stuff in my house.
Yeah.
So we got it going, and now it's at my shop in New York because we were able to take all those boxes and put all the parts together. So, QA1 came through with the suspension kit, AMD again, Aeromotive with the fuel system, Dakota Digital. We're getting the paint. I just talked to her today, as a matter of fact. Tammy Miller from Revolt.
Okay.
We're making a custom color for that one. And I'm still up in the air. Leave me a message. What color you think should paint that car? That car was originally B5 blue, but we're gonna go an AAR CUDA style. We're not gonna have the stripes that say AAR CUDA on the side. We might have the little badge, but you know what I kind of
what color should Terry paint the CUDA? That's the question right now.
What color should Terry paint the CUDA? Because I'm a big Dan Gurney fan, and Dan Gurney used to race a CUDA, a 42.
Yeah, the AAR stuff. Yeah, all American racing.
Exactly, Trans Am racing. And I'd like to have it somewhat that color, whereas when I go to car shows, I could just slap the magnetic stickers on it and make it look like Dan Gurney replica.
Oh, that'd be cool. What motor is in the CUDA?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know what I want to put in there. I think if you know my videos, you know exactly what I want to put in there.
So I thought that it already had a motor in it.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't have a motor. It was originally a 318 car, but
yeah.
I'm working with Summit, and they got that whole Pro Hemi line coming out. So we're gonna probably, matter of fact, we were gonna talk to you about that, and we still might talk to you about that. Okay. We're thinking about building a stroker Pro Hemi, and for the car, just to promote their Pro Hemi line of parts that pretty much fix the weak points, I believe, which are the cam that's in a stock Hemi, like the truck Hemis.
Yeah, the Ram stuff, yeah.
The Rams, their weak points, I believe, are the lifter bores or something like that, maybe the lifters or something like that.
Yeah, they got some, although, you know what, the guys talk about that a lot, but I still think that the guys that are having problems with the Hemi lifters are from those things sitting in like law enforcement and government vehicles where they just sit in idle for hours. And I think that that's the problem that they have. I don't know if Hemis actually have that problem, but as long as Summit's making Pro LS rods and pistons and stuff like that for it, it should be, you should have no problem with it.
They have no problem with it.
Power, yeah.
We might have to come to California and test one out with my man Richard.
that would be cool. And you could put Hellcat blowers on it, and there's so many different ways you can make power with that motor.
There's a lot of variables, but then like I tell one of my buddies, like when you build a car that pushes you to your limits. Don't push the car to its limits, especially if you're not used to driving it to its limits. So these people are so, like, oh, I got to have 1,000 horsepower. On the street, what are you going to do with 1,000 horsepower?
Yeah. They want 1,000 horsepower until you put them in the passenger seat in a car that even makes 500 and use all of that. Then they're like, oh, yeah, that's this is really scary.
It's different. It's different. I mean, like, that's the thing. I mean, like, when we were growing up, probably, I mean, let's take a look at one of the baddest cars that were ever made on the planet at our time, which was the Grand National. Okay. That Grand National, they said it was rated, I believe, 260, where the IROC was 240. Now, that I don't think that was wheel, but the Grand National was special. Grand National was close to 300. I don't care what anyone says. But even still, as fast as that car was.
That's the Terry rating?
Yeah. And Terry, I think it was 300. I was just like, my buttometer says 300. But still, that was a quick car. And
oh, yeah.
It's amazing how many people sleep on 300, 400 horsepower. If you're driving your car on the street, 300, 400 horsepower is plenty. 400, let's say 400.
Yeah.
Is plenty, especially stoplight to stoplight, but then you got these dealerships that are just pushing like the Hellcats, it's like 700 out the box, Yeah. I think they get swayed by the number. Don't think about the number. Don't think about the number.
Well, the number is just a bragging thing for a lot of people. But the other thing is, like in your car, a 70, 71 Hemi Cuda or a Barracuda weighs a lot less than a modern Cuda does, or modern Charger, or anything that's modern.
Power to weight
they
ratio.
Could be 1,000 pounds more. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And that's what people don't understand. You got to put that power to weight ratio thing. If you got a car that's like, let's say for even numbers, 3,000 pounds, right? And it's pushing 400 horsepower, right? Now, most of the cars now are close to like 5,000. I mean, like a new Camaro, a new Mustang, those cars are like 4,500, 5,000 pounds. So
yeah, and it's harder on everything. It's harder on getting the thing to accelerate. It's harder on getting it to handle, harder on getting it to stop. All of those things, all of those things pay the price when you have lots of vehicle weight.
Right. So that's probably why we didn't need that much power, because like a 400 horsepower engine at the wheels can move a 3,400 pound Chevelle very nicely.
400 horsepower in like a 2,900 pound Fox Mustang was a pretty sporty deal.
There you go. There you go.
So here the guys want a sassy green, deep blue metallic, black, B5 blue or sublime green. All of those are
that's what everyone's saying. Okay. Let's bring it down. Okay, black is too hard to keep clean.
I agree.
Don't want a black car.
What's the purple? Is it Plum Crazy? Is the purple for Mopar, right?
Plum Crazy, yes, that was a nice color. It's funny because it was called something different if you had a Plymouth. Dodge was Plum Crazy, but Plymouth was called something else.
B5 blue or Plum Crazy is from Kimi.
Kimi, B5 blue. I was actually thinking about repainting it because it was originally B5 blue, and that way for the registration, I'll have to change the color.
The color that I painted my Omni is a Dodge color also. And I love it. It looks amazing. Because I have a 85 GLH and now it's a GLHS, but it's
oh, you got an 85 Omni?
I have to ask the guys from the car farm what color blue it is. But I really like that.
The Omnis were nice, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love this car now. It's amazing. I got to go pick it up so we can drive it around now. I see what kind of dog do you have? I see the dog tail waving in the back because mine come visit me all the time. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the dogs are upstairs. I'm an animal lover. I got 2 cats. I got this one right here. Where's Memphis? Memphis, come here. That's his brother. So yeah, I got 2 cats, 2 dogs upstairs.
Yeah.
But
Sean says he's got 600 wheel horsepower in a 3,100 pound car, so that's good.
That's pulling the wheels off the ground if you got a nice drive.
Yeah, I think that his is Sean, yours an LS7 base deal? Is yours a I think it is 2,500 pounds and 260 wheel horsepower. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, that's all fun stuff, man.
Yeah, no doubt. My 69 Camaro, that's another project. That one, it's got a stock LS2.
Okay.
I did that one. That was my first personal LS build I ever did. I helped other guys put the LSs in their cars. So I was like, you know what? I got the 69 Camaro. Let me go and get this LS engine in there. And I knew someone, matter of fact, Contemporary Corvettes over in Pennsylvania, guy, he had a wrecked GTO 6-speed, blasted in the back or something like that. And so he's just like, this is when they first came out, the LS2s, and they were reasonable. So 6,000 bought the transmission and the engine. And one weekend I just put it in there with the help of what's called Campbell from Street Performance. He sold me everything. This is what you're gonna need, Mark. He says this is everything you're gonna need, and I got that thing running, and that was it for the LS. I was like, never again. This is it. No more 350s. No more timing lights. I haven't used my timing light since. That's actually a lie. My OBS pickup truck. I had to set the timing on that because I just got. So I'm not gonna lie. I don't still have my timing light.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how.
So what transmissions in the Camaro?
The 69 Camaro has a T56.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was everything took out. That GTO 2006 GTO had 12,000 miles on it. So I was like, I'm not taking this transmission apart. There's no need.
Yeah.
So right in, and that was like one of the first LS engine, LS vehicles where around my area, which is Rockland, that LS installed vehicle. You know, as far as taking it out and installing it, it was heard of, but there wasn't too many at the shows. Yeah. And the following year, and then you see more and more and more. Now it's like everyone has an LS, which is cool.
Yeah, no, that's good. And what transmission's going in the 73 Cuda?
A T56 probably.
Okay.
Like I said, that's my go-to. I was
gonna say we got a theme going on here.
Yeah, no, every one of them. The GTO, that's got a T56. Getting the T56.
I have one for my Mustang too. I like them.
I love them. And even my Trailblazer SS, the one I just put a T56 in, trimming. It's a great transmission.
Yeah. What's in the Trailblazer SS?
Well, that's another car that pretty much started. Well, I would say started the channel. It pretty much helped perpetuate it. That's got the stock bottom LS2, LS3 heads, an LSA supercharger. I removed it used to be all-wheel drive, so I removed the front diff, made it rear-wheel drive, and I beefed up the transmission. And after the transmission failed, once, got it rebuilt, and then the pump went, so I had to take it out again. And I always wanted a stick in that car. I decided to just do a little post and say, if you want to see me put a stick in this Trailblazer SS, let me know, because I just found out that the corporate twin to the Trailblazer SS was the SSR pickup truck. And the last years of that truck, you could get a T56.
Oh, really?
Yes. And once I found that out, because they came with I think a 5.3 LS, but then the last year, which I believe was 2006, I'm not 100% sure, but the last year they put LS2s with a 6-speed option.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember, I had a buddy who had one, but then I saw one. I was driving on the highway on the Garden State Parkway and coming around a bend, and I heard this yellow one, and it didn't sound like a regular 5.3. It sounded deep and throaty, and I was like, "What is that?" And it said SSR, something like that. And I did research, and I was like, "Wait a second, hold on, that's an LS2." And I called my buddy up who gave me the keys. I was like, "Did they?" He said, "Yeah, they made you can order them now. The last year with a stick and LS2." I'm like,
that'd be a serious deal. I didn't even realize they made that.
Oh yeah, you can still pick them up. And so once I found that out, I called my friends over at Scotty Dickey. I was like, send me everything that you can find for the cross member, if that's different, for a SSR, or sorry, an SS pickup truck back in 2006 with a stick, like the cross member, the mount and all that. And, here's the year is 2024. So they don't have anything on the shelves or anything like that. So I got in touch with Beludo. He does a lot of Trailblazer stuff. And I worked with him, and we made a custom cross member that all you got to do is take your cross member out, and this thing will fit, pitch angle will be perfect for people who want to do the T56 swap.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big fan of those. You seem to have a theme going here with the T56, obviously, and everything.
Love them. Every car, you know.
Have you run any of these? Like when you put them all together and they've been running, have you run any of these at the track or on the dyno? Have you done any of that stuff with these things?
I do a lot of autocrossing. Like we have at the Giants Stadium, MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, where the Giants play. Every now and then they'll have like autocrossing going on in their parking lot. And I used to run my white Chevelle there all the time. I took the white Chevelle. The white Chevelle is the one that got most of the work as far as like going to the track, see what it can do. My 69 Camaro got a little bit of work, but for the most, you know, like as far as, but most of the time it was that Chevelle. And so the Chevelle, you know, the times were very impressive considering it's a big car. I'm not a race car driver, so, you know, I'm just there for the picture. When the light turns green, car jumps up, I'm just there for the picture. I'm not trying to break any time. I just want to play, you know. Yeah. And so I'm sure with a professional driver, it could do a lot better. And that's the thing, you got to be realistic. A lot of people think they're professional drivers, but, you know, like your best time and you get someone who's a professional driver on that bad day will probably take seconds off.
Yeah. You can look at it. You can look at the mile an hour and you can look at the 60-foot time and try to gauge on, you know, if you've got a 2.6 60-foot time, there's a lot left in there.
Oh, there's exactly.
But if you look at a 6-liter with an LSA blower in a Chevelle, that's gonna. I mean, it's got a cam in it. That could make a lot of power.
Oh no, it's making. I took it to the dyno, and you know, I don't know how accurate this dyno was because the numbers were 6, if I remember correctly, 670 horsepower and 6. Now this is at the wheel, so that's why I'm contemplating it. And it was like 680, something like that. It was almost even with foot-pounds of torque. And I'm saying to myself, that might be a little generous, you know. But the car feels every bit of it. But you know,
it would depend on if you have good gas in it and how much boost you're running and all that. Because the LSA blower will certainly support that. It could definitely make that much power. I mean, it has that much in it. And on a 6-liter with that's an LY6, so it has rec port heads, it has good heads on it anyway. And if you got a cam and that blower on it and the blower is spun up, it can easily do that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because you know what it was? The thing that got me over it was because before I put the blower on, I had it tuned before without the blower. And I'm like, wow, 200 horsepower on the blower? I was like, I don't know. You know, but you know, like, hey, if it makes that, that's fine. But you know, like, I just hated going to the dyno because you're basically paying someone to beat the bejesus out of your car. And it's just, you hear your car screaming like that, man. You're like, oh my God, stop it.
A lot of people think that the first time that they run something, either on the engine dyno or the chassis dyno, you're like, oh my gosh, you know, why are you being so mean to this? This is so hard on everything. But then the opposite end of that spectrum is somebody like me, and I have that junkyard 5.3 that has 700 pulls on it that we just beat to death every time I go down there. And it's just like, I still make the same power. It still works. I came from a wrecking yard. I had 200,000 miles. And so it just keeps going. And so anymore, I really don't worry about any of that. I mean, even my Engine Masters motor, when I ran it, it had 450 pulls on it before I took it to the competition. Because I was trying to find stuff, you know, I'm not smart enough to just put a motor together the first time and have it be at that level. And as I found out in talking to the other guys there, they're like, oh yeah, no, we spent months making this. You know, we didn't just put a motor together and have it be right. I mean, there were a couple of guys that said, oh yeah, I did this in 2 pulls or whatever. We're like, look, we didn't even want to talk to you because we know that you're not telling the truth about this. Because the guys that told me, yeah, I spent, you know, 6 months doing this, are guys like Bischoff and Kazi, and it didn't just happen the first time, you know. And I'm like, yeah, no, I spent every waking moment whittling away trying to find stuff, you know. But when we ran it, it keeps doing the same thing. You think about how many times you go to wide open throttle in your car while you're driving it. It's a lot, right?
It's yeah. A lot more than I like to admit.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it would be more if I didn't think I would get in more trouble when
exactly.
I'm driving around. Yeah.
But you got your car screaming and all that. And there was one case where, oh my God, for everyone who's listening and hear the sound of my voice, do not take a friend's drive shaft and be like, oh, I got a drive shaft that'll work for you. I had a guy who says that, oh, I can fix a drive shaft for you, don't worry. So I let him, and he put the wrong bands on, and the drive shaft kicked out of my Chevelle at 120 miles an hour on the dyno.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, and it just ruined the car. I had, this is part of the floorboard I had to replace. Transmission I had to replace. Drive shaft was a pretzel, and it was just. I brought the car home and I put it in the garage, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not touching this car. That's it. It's done.
Yeah.
This is like maybe 9 o'clock at night. 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm taking the car apart.
Yeah, we've had things like that happen on the chassis dyno before, where a U-joint breaks or something breaks, and it's really dangerous. I mean, if you pitch a drive shaft, you could shoot it across the shop, and you could take people's legs out and stuff. So it's not a good situation at all, and you don't want to be throwing stuff like that out there. No, that's a lot of big heavy metal stuff spinning around.
Yep. No, it wasn't fun. It's scary, and I was just like, oh my goodness. And you think about what could have happened. Like you said, it could have just came out.
Oh yeah, no, it's bad stuff. So that's very cool. So what do you have? So we got the Chevelle, the Cuda, the Camaro, and the Trailblazer SS. What's with the General Lee photo that I keep showing you? I just like it because of the bright orange. It photographs well, but I mean, obviously that's kind of a cool deal.
That's Ray Combs' GTO. That's Northeast Ohio Dukes. The guys that go and jump the General Lee. They did one in Canada.
Okay.
First General Lee jump in Canada, and then they did one last year at Mopar Nationals.
Okay.
And so now they got a whole bunch of dates to go to this year. I'm in that car because they're personal friends of mine, and I was the announcer. I was the mouthpiece at the Mopar National event.
Okay, cool.
So, like they asked me to get in the car, and they asked me would I jump the car. I was like, absolutely, no helmet. I'd jump this car right now. I was lying.
That's I'm all for them jumping the General Lee. There's nothing but good about that.
Yeah, no, it's and to see how well built that car is, it's amazing. And like when I was there, a lot of people were asking me. They said, how could you? They were upset. How could you go and jump a 1969 Charger? How could you do this? You're ruining Americana automobile, whatever and such. And I told them, I was like, well, honestly, it's not a real 69 Charger. When they used to jump real 69 Chargers, that was because the cars were just so far gone. I mean, it was just they would just band-aid the car together, But the car's a Crown Vic.
Oh, okay.
The car's a Crown Vic with AMD sheet metal over it because the Crown Vic is almost the exact same length, width, and height of that car, of a 69 Charger. Yeah,
that makes sense.
So they use
although Cletus is making sure there's not going to be very many Crown Vics around anymore.
Yeah, no, Cletus is doing his thing. I'm still waiting for a call. I'm still waiting for Cletus to give a brother a call and be like, yo, Terry, come on down here and get in this 500.
Yeah, but back when they were jumping these General Lees and they were, people were complaining about it. The General Lees were $1,000 cars or $2,000 cars back then. And all of these people that are complaining about it, none of them are going to wrecking yards or going wherever to try to find these things and restore them. So look, unless you're going to go be part of the Preservation Society and you're going to restore something, and if you're jumping a bunch of 318 2-barrel ones, those are not going to fetch good money other than as being converted to Hemi cars or 440 cars or whatever, to make them something that's desirable. And we'd like to have all of them, run forever. But the reality is that's just not going to happen anyways. I mean, people are not going to do that.
No. And it's funny because, like people get mad at, I got to say this. People get mad at what people do with their own projects.
Yeah.
Like I put a video out the other day, right? And it cracks me up. I put a video out the other day where on the CUDA, matter of fact, look at that Charger. Look at that Charger right there. You see how the door mirror is like halfway through the door.
Yeah.
I put a video out and I asked to the Mopar people, why is the mirror like almost center of the door instead of being up close, like towards the pillar?
Yeah.
And people came back with all, because that's how Mopar designed it. They came out with all kinds of smart answers except the right answer, which I don't know still to this day.
Yeah, well, I was wondering if you move that too far forward, can you not see past it? Because that has a wing win like a 67, like a 67 Firebird has. It has the vent window, and if you move that too far forward, I wonder if that bar would be in the way of seeing it.
See, that's what I'm thinking. That's an intelligent answer right there. But here's the thing: 1969, the Cuda, before they changed their body style from 70 to 74, it had a wing window.
Yeah.
So yes, if it had a wing window, that would answer that question. So I personally think they got that car ready for production, and they looked at it and be like, you know what? Because 69 and 70 is the year where they started doing away with the wing windows for GM and just about almost all the car fleets.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking maybe they looked at it and be like, you know what? Let's get rid of that wing window, because I think the car will look a lot better if we just get rid of the wing window, which it would have.
Sure.
So I think they probably started with a wing window in the design. They said, let's do away with it. And then they're like, you know what? Let's just leave the mirror where it is.
All our body panels already have the holes in them for that. We're already ready for production on that. Let's just leave it there.
Just leave it there. Yep. And some Muhammad Ali looking guy, he'll probably just move it forward. And it's funny. People were just like, it's going to look stupid if you move it forward. I was like, how's it going to look? I think it's going to look great.
Yeah.
I think it'll look great. It look like it belongs. Now it's like in the center of the door. Yeah. You know? And so.
Yeah, and heaven forbid you should change anything to the way that it was in the 60s.
Yeah. You know, I had an argument with a guy one time before. 69 Camaro. You know, I was at a car show. I had my LS2 69 Camaro. And I was like, oh, there's a Camaro over there. Let me park over there next to him, right? He had a bunch of people in there. It was a rare 69 RS SS Camaro. Beautiful car. Yes. But it was all original and all that, right? So I pull up next to it, right? And immediately I know who the guy, who the car belongs to. This little snooty dude. I should have put him in a headlock. But so I get out, right? Now my car is all in primer and everything like that, but inside's together. And it's got an LS in it. So I popped open the hood, and now you can start seeing like the people leave his, come over to mine.
Yeah.
And so here he comes. Now this has had to been like early 2010 or something like that, 11. And here he comes, you know, like, so where's the original engine? I was like, well, I bought the car as a shell. You know, so that's, you know, well, what kind of engine was it in? What was in it? I was like, it was a 6-cylinder in here. And he goes, well, to me, the car is not worth anything if you don't put the original stuff back on. I was like, really? So 69, they had wheelwood brakes? They had Willwood was making brakes back in 69? You know, if you're gonna go all the way as far as like call your car original, you know, do it the right way. Don't have like Willwood brakes and you know, like I expect to see like drum brakes on the front.
Yeah.
You know, especially gonna come over here with your mouth, you know?
I was going to say that's the most important thing. Don't come out over here and tell me how to do my project. I will fight for your right to do your project the way that you want to do it, but don't come over here and tell me about politics or religion or project cars. None of that.
No. And
you know, if you want to be all original, dude, that's fantastic. Restore that thing, have it the way that it was. This is not that. It could still be cool, and it is, because right now, if we race, I would just destroy you.
Oh, I even said to him, because they kept on going, I was like, there's no type of race other than most original, any type of contest you would beat me in. If we raced from here to California, I would cook you. If we were to drag race, I would cook you with like 3 of my boys in the car with the air conditioning on.
Hello.
You know, there's no way you could beat me in any, what's it called, handling? You can forget it. Braking? Forget it. Even with your Willwoods, forget it. Nothing. You can't do. You know, and I said, you know, I said something which just came up on the fly, which I was like, originality equals impracticality.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the guy, you know, anybody that gives you that sort of absolute that my way is the best way, I'm like, okay, we're done having a conversation here.
No. And it's funny because even with my CUDA, I knew what was going to happen. I knew people were going to be like, oh, you got to put a Hellcat, you got to do this. I knew people were going to say that because when I first got the CUDA, I was putting an LS in it. I was like, this is going to be an LS car. But I was like, let me be fair. And I gave people the opportunity. I said, listen, I know y'all know which way I'm leaning towards going. All right. So I'm going to give you guys the opportunity. If you want to donate, if you know someone who has a Hemi or would like to donate one, the garage door will be open. We are accepting all Hemi engines to put in the CUDA. Because what that does is that gives you the right to open your mouth and say, hey, you got to put a Hemi in there, and you're backing it up by providing one. And if you do that, you can come to the garage shop and we can put it in together, you know? But I said, but I will tell you this, you know, I got a bunch of LSs hanging around, okay? So if come time when this body work is done and I'm looking to put an engine in there and I see like 5 or 6 LS engines and I look around and I see no Hemis, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Yeah, and how do you argue against a guy that took that car and put a supercharged slant 6 in it? I mean, anything in there that's cool, you know, that speaks to the guy, that's what you got to do. You can't. We used to when I was working for the magazines, you know, we'd go to a car show and we'd walk around, and this was during the heyday of everybody putting tune port motors in their Tri-5 Chevys and stuff. I'm like, all of these are fantastic. I mean, they have Corvette suspension. All of these are fantastic. But like, I'm going to strangle somebody if I walk by here again and see another small block Chevy in one of these, or even a big block. I want to see something different. Show me something that's not this. I mean, these are all nicely done and they're $1 million cars or whatever, but show me something. Show me a helicopter engine. Show me a 4-cylinder. Show me anything that's different than what I'm seeing 100 times. You know, what are you going to do?
Hey, like I said, you gotta build what you build, and so I figured, okay, let me go on. It's time for me to do a Hellcat or a Chrysler engine, whatever, such and such. But you know, but it's not out of the question of me throwing an LS in that thing. It really isn't. And,
hey, and we tell people all the time, you know, you work on what you have. People wonder why. Hey, why would you spend money on a 305 Chevy? Because that's what he had. And he wants to make that better. You got a 6-cylinder, you want to make that better. Whatever you have, just make it better. That's why I do so many different things on my channel, because I get show people. That's why I love Hondas. That's why I love rotaries. That's why I love all of these different things. Let's do all of them. Let's all make them all cool, man.
No, it's easy to tell people how to spend their money. You know, that's why I was like, hey.
I don't have any, so I can tell them how to spend it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, hey, you know, like the garage door is open. If you have someone that has a Hemi that wants to donate it, or if you want to just buck up out of your pocket and you want to send a Hemi my way, I will definitely throw it in this car. But to me,
take a look at the who's the guy that just, somebody let me know in the comments, who's the guy that just did the 17 turbos on the diesel in the big truck?
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, this Whistling Diesel, I think, did it.
Yeah.
And again, impractical, no reason to do it. I'm not even sure all the turbos were spooled up, but still like 1,000% awesome. I mean,
how stupid does that look? It looks incredible.
Oh yeah, no, I know. And you know, doing, you know, there's a conversation to be had about doing stuff like just to get views, but that's awesome. I mean, you know, how many turbos do we want on here? Well, how many can we fit? Let's just find that out.
You know, like I said, they may not be hooked up. Just put a belt to them or something.
Whatever. Yeah, no, it's you know, all kinds of different turbos feeding all kinds of different turbos. That's just like nothing but turbo goodness, man.
No. And so, like I say, you know, like it's easy to say, hey, you should put a Hemi in there. I was like, okay, won't you give me the $10,000 to $12,000 that it costs to pick up this engine? You know, well, I'm not going to do that. All right, then. But you fast open your mouth. Whereas I got like, what's it called? A couple of built LSs sitting over here. Why am I going to go spend an extra $10,000 when the hood's closed? You don't know. And then this is the beautiful thing. ICT Billet. I love those guys. I'm working with them now. They have an adapter plate which you can put the Hellcat supercharger on top of an LS engine. So what that means is you'll hear that supercharger whine, that distinctive Hellcat supercharger whine, and you open it up and you see a Hellcat supercharger. No one's going to be looking to see what kind of block it's on. They're going to be like, oh, it's a Hellcat. I will fool the masses.
Yeah. No, it's, you know, That's why there's different people, and that's why there's different projects. Everybody gets to do their own thing. I don't find a lot of people that want to do 1 liter Geo Metro projects with me, but there are some, and it wouldn't matter if I was the only one. That speaks to me, and that's what I like, and that's one of the things. I was watching. I shouldn't have done it, but one of the on Instagram or Facebook, there was a feed that came on about it's old vintage racing, and there was a Nash Metropolitan racing against a Jaguar, and I'm like, and for the life of me, I have always wanted a Nash Metropolitan. I want a little Nash Metropolitan convertible, and I want to put a twin cam 4-cylinder and like a 5-speed in it. Not because I want to race it around. I just want to drive it.
Oh, you talking about it's like a 2-seater?
Yes.
Looks like a loaf of bread.
They're all, and they're all two-tone. Yeah, that's
two-tone.
That's the kind of thing that speaks to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just think it's cool. They're slow and they don't handle well, and they don't, they're all the bad things. But with like a twin cam, like a 4AG Toyota motor in there or something, I just want something that Lisa and I could drive around in and that looks cool. I just think it would be awesome.
That'd be pretty cool though. Like you said, Wow, that would be pretty cool. Nash Metropolitan. I haven't seen one of those in years.
Yeah, like I said, it's enough other guys and weirdness that it's like it's one of the things that I like.
You would find a following real quick.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, because I've seen some where guys put like blown big blocks. They make like Zinger cars out of them. I've seen Grand National motors in them. I've seen all kinds of things that guys do because it's a little tiny car. So you got to put a big giant motor in. I'm like, look, I totally understand that. That's perfect. Yeah. It's just wildly impractical, which is perfect. But like, I want a driver one, and I don't want that because I think it has like a Morris Minor kind of like the British 4-cylinders in it, and I don't think that that's what I would want in it. I would want and because I want when you pop the hood, I want an engine that has eyeball appeal, and a twin cam Toyota has that. I mean, I really like the way that they look.
And you don't have to do the rear end because I'm sure it's not built for power.
No, I don't really want to go fast. I don't know that I would even want to go like freeway speeds in it, but I just want to be able to drive it around.
Pick up groceries. You don't have to hold them when you're driving.
Yep. Just want to go out on date night and cruise around, maybe go in a parade or something. I don't know. Just something fun, something that the doggies could come in. See, this is Bruno. Come here.
Oh, Bruno, what's up?
What are you doing? Who's that? Uh-oh, mommy's home.
Uh-oh. No, but
they're rushing off to see.
Yep. So, the GTO started out life as a Le Mans that was getting ready to go to the crusher.
What year is it?
69.
69. Okay.
So you're gonna start seeing more video on that soon. Yes, because like I had to replace the quarter panels and all that stuff, and I just got the paint code for it. As far as like I said, Tammy Miller from Revolt, we mixed up a nice pretty orange, metallic orange for that car, and it's going to have the hideaway headlights and the whole nine. So it's basically Le Mans that we convert to a GTO, and GTO looking. Let's say that because it's not going to have the badges on it. And
yeah, no, I like those cars. Are you gonna do an LS in it, or are you gonna do?
I already got the LS. I got the 408 LS built. Stroke 408.
Okay.
And that's the one that we're gonna try to put the LT4 supercharger on there.
Okay.
And of course the T56.
Yeah, we still need to get together and do the Hemi blower or the LSA or something, right? We
definitely gonna do something. Yes, we definitely gotta do something. Like I said, I'll cruise on out to California, not a big deal because I got relatives out there, and we definitely gotta plan something because I'll send them out there. Like I said, I'll send them out there, and we just test them out and give the results to the good people, and they can make it cool for themselves, you know.
Yeah, so let's see who wants to see LSA or LT4 blowers on an LS.
Or either a Hemi, because they make the one for the Hemi supercharger too.
Yeah, I don't have any Hemi motors right now, although every time I go to the wrecking yard, the local wrecking yard that I go to, I always see Hemis there.
Well,
There are ones in the Magnums and the 300s and in the Rams and in some of the Jeeps also we find them.
you see Hemis?
I don't know what kind of shape they're in though.
Yeah. The fact that you see them, because usually those things are bone picked.
I see a lot of the early Hemis, not later stuff, like not VVT stuff, but the earlier ones, the earlier 5.7 stuff is I can find those pretty easily.
Mm. Yeah, no, like I said, we I'll send all that stuff out there, and we could have a good time. We could blow some stuff up.
That would be cool. The having boost on anything is always good.
No, definitely. Maybe we'll even do a supercharger and a turbo on one engine. Ooh.
Yeah, we've done that before. We did that on the V6, and we did that on an 03 Cobra motor too, where we ran turbos with Jimmy from HP Performance. We ran twin turbos feeding the factory Eaton supercharger. Wow. It works good. Yeah.
Why would someone want to do that? I mean, like, just more boost?
Yeah, what the reason that people do it is, I mean, there are a number of ways that they want to do it, but if you get rid of, like, you have a 4.6 Cobra motor, you get rid of the blower. Let's just say you run it NA and then you run it with 2 turbos.
Okay.
So if you put the blower on now, what you do is spool the turbos up like a lot faster, because instead of a 300 horsepower NA 4.6, now it's like a 450 horsepower and supercharged 4.6. So it will spool the turbos up a lot faster. But really what you want to do is get the supercharger out of the way so that you can just run the turbos, because it's way more efficient that way. But one, like we were talking about, it's very cool. People want to see compound stuff because it's awesome. And it does, like I said, if you were using big turbos, in our case, we weren't using very big turbos. We were using like 1,000 horsepower turbos. So we could spool them up reasonably well already. But guys wanted to see that. The downside, though, is that you have a lot of pressure, because
that's what I'm saying. I figured the supercharger would be like almost like holding the straw closed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is in the way of the turbos, because like we had 7 pounds from the turbos feeding 11 pounds from the blower, because we ran them all individually. And so we had that setup going, but it was like 22 pounds going into the motor, because that's why it's compounded. So you have a really high pressure ratio there. And if you need to do that, but in most cases, they have the blower there to help like low speed response, which it does help. And then the turbos kind of come on. But ultimately, if you were really racing, you would just get rid of the blower and just run the
turbo. That's what I'm saying, because I figured that's what twin turbos are for. You got one that's like from idle up to a certain point, and the other one kicks in.
Well, if you did twin turbos as sequential turbos, where one came on and then the other one joins in, you can do that. We just had twin parallel.
Just going, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Just one side feeding each one.
Okay. No, that's. I know at some point I'm gonna go into the turbo. I know. I think on my OBS, my pickup truck, I'm gonna do twin turbos underneath the bed.
Okay, yeah, no, that's cool. I've seen guys do that really, really successfully. The nice thing is, and it gets the turbos and the heat away from everything else there in the back. And as long as you can get the oil drain and the pump and all of that situated and make sure that that's working, and it works good.
Yeah, I think that's what I want to do.
Then you can have the intercooler back there and all that. I mean, it works good.
Yeah, because I like my engine to look like an engine. I don't want it to be like backwards manifolds,
Yeah, it would look just like, because it would just have headers or whatever feeding all the exhaust back to the back, and it would look just like an NA motor, other than whatever tube you had, run up into the throttle body.
Run up the throttle body, exactly. But we can make something, make it look good, make it look like somewhat decent looking engine instead of having tubes all over the place.
Oh yeah, no. There's the turbo stuff can get busy in the engine compartment, certainly.
No, that's what are you doing over here? Because I'm hungry. So what you working on, Rich?
We just got done testing a whole bunch of different size turbos that we're going to be selling for the store for Richard Holdner Performance. And I wanted to test a lot of different modern turbos because the wheel designs now are much better than the stuff that we had been using previously.
Right.
And so I wanted to go through testing, and that's one of the things for my store is that I don't sell anything that I haven't personally run and can verify that it works. And so we went through a whole series. I think we tested 7 or 8 different turbos, and we're checking not just like maximum power, but we're checking response rate and, and power output per pound of boost and all these things so that I can offer something that's, it's going to work for people.
Right. That's good.
I'm not gonna like compete with. There's a lot of specialty turbo guys that are great. Robert from Force Performance and guys like that. Byron at VS and all. We're not. I'm not looking at doing that. But I get a lot of questions about turbos from guys that want combinations put together, and I've run lots and lots of turbos on the dyno, and so rather than tell them, hey, look, go buy this turbo over here, you can just buy this one that we have, that we've done all this testing on. We know what the response rate is. We know what the boost potential is and the power. And here, this one's slotted for making this kind of power. And then this bigger one is slotted for making this kind of power. We're just trying to solve people's problems and help them make the right decisions.
Well, I tell you what, I know where to go if I want to go when I'm ready for the turbos on the OBS pickup.
Oh yeah, even 1,000+ horsepower and down is all really, really simple. It's like nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I think on this pickup truck it's going to be that. But the only thing I'm worried about is like rocks kicking up on the turbo because it'll be so close to the ground. Yeah,
you definitely want to, you want to have an air filter. You just want to have something that gets cold air and all that. And you don't want to feed it rocks or birds or small children or anything.
No,
exactly. Keep all that away from it.
Little geckos and all that, cats.
Yeah, the turbo does not like to ingest stuff. It will definitely destroy itself.
Yeah, no, we don't need that. Yeah. So let me ask you this though. Last time we talked when I was out in California, you were going snake catching or something like that. What's that all about?
Yeah, I'm going back now too because it's getting to be the season now. So we went. I've been doing it since I was 5. So I go out. I probably catch when I was going out more. I'd catch more than 100 a year. Snakes. But we took a trip last year to Florida to go out and try to help the Floridians get rid of these invasive Burmese python species. So we just drove there. Like I flew to see my buddy Jimmy who lives in Georgia, and then we drove down into Florida and drove down into the swamps and just went out at night and went looking for snakes. And we found one small Burmese python, found a lot of alligators and a lot of other kinds of snakes, which was awesome for me because I love it. But it's something I've always wanted to do, man.
So wait a second, what's a small snake to you? Like how long is a small snake?
Well, this Burmese python was only like 3 or 4 feet. It was a baby.
No.
Yeah. Well, they can be 20 or more feet, so you can find a big one out there. Those are really, really hard to find. I think that those are record ones. You probably can find 10 or 12 footers out there. Might be more common. But yeah, I would love to find like a 15 or 20 footer out there. That'd be awesome.
And so, okay, so for the people, just in case they get caught with a Burmese python, whatever snake it is,
yeah,
what's the best way to what's it called? Like, let's say one's wrapping around you. What's the best way to get them off you? Or either I heard choking them,
Well, the first thing that they're going to do is not wrap around you. First thing they're going to do is try to bite you. Okay. And they have rear-facing teeth that are really serious because that's the only thing that they have to grab onto prey. So they will eat all the small mammals, birds, deer, wild pigs, even some of the smaller alligators and crocodiles. They will eat those too. So they're pretty serious. So if they bite you, you're gonna seriously bleed if they bite you. So, but yeah, that's what when you come upon one. What people normally do is if you have 2 people, it's a lot easier. So you distract it, grab the tail, stretch the thing out, because when it's stretched out, it can no longer strike. And then they're not terribly fast, so you can grab it back behind the head. And then once you grab it back behind the head, it will then try to curl its way around you. But one of the best defenses I've seen is they kind of gather it up and they just sit on it. And so the snake can't get around you if it's a really big one. If it's big and there's two people just grab it and hold on to it. So it's not really that hard. I've never seen I've only seen one situation, the Python Cowboy. If you watch his stuff, his stuff is awesome. But he ran across one that was like 17, 18, 19 feet, I think, out by himself. And it got him and like it got him somewhere on his arm or something. And he was bleeding bad because it got an artery or something. And he was trying to deal with this thing by himself with a big snake. And he'd already been bitten and he was bleeding and he was trying to keep the camera going and stuff. So that's a pretty serious situation.
Too bad. Good thing they're not in groups.
Yeah. They don't hunt in packs. I know, and I like sharks too. I'm weird like that. That's my jams.
So you jump in the water with a shark?
Yeah, I've been shark diving before.
Did you come across one?
Oh yeah, lots of them.
Like were you in a cage or?
No, we weren't in a cage. We swam down, I don't know, probably 50 or 60 feet down to a wreck. And it was an old World War II like munitions ship. And it's not like a big ship, but it was a ship that was carrying munitions, and only some of it was still left. And we swam down there, and there are, I don't know, 6, 7 foot, 8 foot bull sharks. They just kind of swim around where this wreck is, and so you get to go down there, and they're just kind of swimming around. You're like, wow, and you look at them and you go, oh yeah. Just like walking in a different kind of neighborhood, you're like, oh yeah, I'm not in charge here.
No, I'd be like, okay, abort mission.
Yeah, you look at his eyes and you're like, oh yeah, he knows who the top of the like food chain is here. It is definitely not me. So but it was cool.
I heard if a shark comes at you, point his nose down away from you. Is that true?
Yeah, you can. There are some sharks. You see that a lot with redirecting sharks and tiger sharks, females more than males. But yeah, you can redirect them. And a lot of times sharks don't want to eat people. But if they decided that they do, that's a whole different situation.
Yeah. I took my son to an aquarium one time. We saw all the sharks. I didn't know there was such thing as a lemon. That's my favorite, the lemon shark.
Yeah, those are cool.
Lemon
sharks are cool. And if you look, during one time during the year, we have leopard sharks in California. I mean, we have great whites here, all kinds of sharks here, but the leopard sharks come by the thousands, like right offshore, and you could see them just swimming around. And people go in because they don't bite really. And so you just go in the water and there are just sharks everywhere, all around you, just swimming around. It's really kind of cool.
And they don't bite people?
No, because you're not part of their like prey that they normally, they go after other things. Like the great whites that are out there, that would be another thing. But even with that, you have lots of people out there surfing and doing all kinds of stuff. And there's white sharks swimming around them all the time.
I did not know that.
and the good thing to watch are if you watch drones, there are lots of channels where guys fly drones all the time, like over the coast. And people don't see them because like if you and I were out in the water body surfing or whatever, you would never see them. No. Because they're 20 yards away or whatever, swimming in the water. And they're not cutting, their fins not going through the top of the water. They're underneath the water, just under the water, but they're there and there's lots of them. And people don't ever know about that. But when you have the drone's eye view, you're like, oh yeah, those are really close to people. Same thing in Australia and same thing in South Africa. They're there a lot more than people realize. They're just not there bothering people.
I'm never going surfing again.
yeah.
That's it. I'm done. You think that. Hanging up the board. That's it. It's over.
Yeah.
Staying on land. That's it with my cat.
That's it. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on. That was awesome. I like I said, I had questions I didn't know. I wanted to find out what kind of projects you had going on, and I didn't realize that you had started that long ago. That's very, very cool.
Nah, man, I appreciate it. And like I said, anytime, man. You know, like I said, you're gonna be at SEMA. I'm gonna be at SEMA, PRI, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll definitely chop it up some more as always. You know.
Yeah, definitely, man.
You know?
I appreciate it, Terry.
My pleasure. Anytime.
All right, man. We'll see you later.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, guys, for everybody for showing up. I will see you guys all later.